We can still talk about anything. We are being live streamed. Got it. So,
Got it.
but yeah, I'm definitely up for jumping on TikTok or anything else.
Well, and
Yeah.
and basically, it just gives us a chance to chat about kind of the stuff we're chatting about now. But basically, then the people that follow me right now, I think I'm sitting at 11,300
It's awesome.
right now.
Cool.
Your audio is doing this weird like in and out thing where it's not cutting out, but the volume would drop down for a minute.
Yes.
Okay, maybe it's just the way I'm talking.
We'll see. It didn't sound like it was talking. It was definitely like a volume thing.
Huh.
Yes. I concur.
It was weird. It would go from like normal to like 20% volume and then back for a second.
That's right. Wasn't it when it completely cut out? It's like a brand.
Right. Yeah, like I can still
Like-
hear. I can still hear what you're saying. It was just weird modulation.
Like
there.
clicking, random, weird modulation. Yeah, dude, I'm all about the TikTok. Sure, be all over it, but I'd have to figure out a way to simultaneously run Zoom and TikTok at the same time with the same device. Is that even possible?
Maybe not with the same
Probably
device.
not.
I could do like on my phone with TikTok and on the computer with one, or laptop and computer, something like that. But it might be you couldn't use the same camera, obviously, probably not. So
No,
you would have to at least have like the webcam on your computer and then another camera that could USB support, and maybe you could do it that way. I don't know enough about TikTok. I would just use my
Brilliant.
phone.
So there's the paywall. You put both
Right.
views, one exclusive, second camera,
Someone
both
says
perspectives in the table.
how hot is it in Vegas? I said very hot. It's over 100 degrees for sure. It was like 109 yesterday or something, I think. That's in Fahrenheit for you weirdos. I don't even remember what that, but it's hot. It's like 80 degrees Celsius or something. What is that? 105.
I don't know. It's probably not Canadian.
Not 80, sorry. 105 Fahrenheit is 40 Celsius.
Gee, that's
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's it?
That's it.
Used to get 40 Celsius in Afghanistan at 8:30 in the morning.
Yeah, when I was in Kuwait, I think it got up to 128 or something like that. And then you walk outside. It's kind of similar here, but not as extreme, where you walk outside at night and it's still like 85, 90 degrees. And you're just like, oh.
Great.
Very, very warm. But that's one of the topics I put in the thing, too, is the extreme drought that we're having in the entire Southwest. Like Lake Mead, the whole Colorado River Basin is at like critical levels. Like at the current rate of decline within like several months, it could get to where they couldn't even make electricity maybe through the dam. They can't release any more water, or it'd have to cut off California, because there's like 40 million people or somewhere along those lines that use the water from the Colorado River Basin. And most of it's for agriculture, actually, which is just goes right back into the food shortages thing if they have to start slowing the flow on that. So it's definitely perilous times with that. And that's right where I happen to be right now. So I got a pool with a measly few thousand gallons in it, some water storage barrels, but could have to dip into that at some point. We'll see. I mean, obviously they're going to do things as it gets closer to those critical levels that will introduce different types of measures, I guess, they could come up with. So it's not like we're going to run out of water, but they could cause a lot of problems. Like I said, the big issue being if they have to stymie the supply to the agriculture, then that's just going to magnify our food shortage issues even more, which that's what I expect. Like I said, something like 15% of this water is used to grow stuff, mostly in California, just growing shit in the desert. Well, probably not the best idea. It's so they can have winter vegetable supplies, most of it, stuff so that you can buy like peppers or whatever in winter in all around the countries, because they grow it in the desert.
Let's talk about this possible food shortage. A lot of food processing plants are burning down in the States.
Yeah, it's so wild because I've been trying, like, obviously there's crazy shit going on. I'm not one of those who always jumps into everything is being done on purpose, simply also because if you think about what that would be, like there's teams of people going around burning these places down. That seems kind of weird to me. But at the same time, this is happening. So I've seen some people say, fires are common. We just don't hear about it when it's not already food shortage issues going on. But like, it definitely seems like there's a bizarre amount of, and because it's not all fires either. There's all sorts of weird things happening to our food supply, and it's like all at once. Is that just like a once in a multi-generational variance that we're just getting screwed, quote, unlucky? Hard to imagine that that's the case, but I guess it could be.
I don't know. It just seems that both your president and my supreme overlord both said in speeches that they're planning on food shortages within our countries,
Right.
food and energy shortages. So, and then with all this stuff kind of burning down, fuel in the place where I'm working in right now, BC it's sitting at $2.31 a liter. So that's going to be like so, you know, 3.5 gallons, or sorry, 3.5 liters per gallon. So you know, looking at about $9 almost, but
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely going to get
I've heard
that.
that. Sorry, Eric. Go ahead.
I was just going to say we're going to get that here with the gas prices too. I mean, right now in Vegas, and most in the Southwest, it's well over almost $6, $5.70, $5.75, something like that here. More in California, slightly less in other areas. But I mean, we're seeing especially if anything happens with like Iran, there's saber rattling over there. If they cut off the Strait of Hormuz, that'll just cause instant like $15 a gallon gas, probably.
it's a, I think, and I really, you know what, it's the conspiracy theory. I try not to get into that. Maybe I'm one myself, but it seems that everything we've been saying, pretty much from 2020 all the way to now, somehow it's come into fruition, and it's just it's odd. So, how can you prep for that? How can you prep for a food?
Yeah, I mean, you have to rely on either production or storage. You have to either store food to ride it out or find a way to produce your own. Those are really the only two ways to get food, is to store it up or to like stockpile it or to produce it. I think they're both great options, and some are going to make more sense depending on where you're at. Like here in the middle of the desert in a relatively small property, food production is a lot more difficult than food storage. So I'm leaning much more on storage. If I was back in Florida with my much bigger lot, I would go right back into much more gardening, bunch more chickens, that sort of thing, and also store food. But long-term production is always the better bet. Sure, it's not going to run out, but you still have to get supplies for that too. You can't just put chickens on your property and get endless supply of eggs. You have to have food for them too. So,
yeah, and that's where we get into things like looking at beetle larvae for food for chickens.
Exactly.
Yeah, really good point. There's also the hunting aspect too, which I just intervene here for a quick second. That there's a lot of hunting. We have rules here in Kim. We have rules all over the place in North America. It's limited with how much you can acquire on certain specific seasons, but it's going to be at the Wild West, especially in northern Canada. People just and with illegal techniques as well, spotlighting and all that snare traps and all these other stuff will come out of the woodwork, I imagine.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if people are starving, they're not going to be too worried about the game warden, especially if they're way deep in the bush. The chances of getting caught are less. And also if it's your life, people aren't going to be worried about fines.
So there's two things to touch on about that now. Some videos that I have seen on TikTok. One guy got a really great view of a helicopter spraying in, spraying around in now, which doesn't really seem odd, but got a really good close of the helicopter that was spraying. It had zero markings. It was just it looked like Airwolf. Had zero markings. Most of these aircraft sort of designate on the wing or the tail or what have you, but zero markings on that. So I don't know. That could be another conspiracy theory.
I'm still having issues hearing you. It's like cutting down. I'm not
cutting down, eh?
It doesn't. The volume. It almost sounds like it's switching to another mic and then back because it's. Yes. But I don't know. My mic's too. I mean, I can still hear what you're saying. It's just weird. But
it's distorted. Yeah.
You said this helicopter was spraying over a city or over like rural land.
Well, it looked like a city. Yeah.
Weird. I mean, we know they've experimented with like cloud seeding and other types of weather control stuff, and who knows if they're just trying to dope everyone up and make them all happy, some weird drug or something. Who knows?
Who knows, man? It could also be also a lot of people are having problems with growing stuff out here in BC. A lot of people are saying there should be tons of berries on their plants, but there's nothing.
Yeah, I think some of that's to do with like bees population having in trouble. A lot of the pollination's not happening. It's just like I said, it's so bizarre that like so many things that each one of them could be critical, or like all happening at the same time. It's just wild. That's why I titled it's going by the book, because it's almost like biblical revelation type crap. There's all these things happening at once.
Pre-COVID, a food crisis is just, it almost seems like it's inevitable that's going to happen within our species within the next, it's certainly we're experiencing food crises in some respect right now in other parts of the world.
Right.
And what are we doing? We're destroying farmland. We can only farm land so much. Populations are booming. I can't imagine how many people are going to be here in 2050. But it's going to be, we're going to start eating worm burgers. I'm not too sure. Insects. We're going to have to think of something as a species here.
Yeah, Canadian Garden Girl posted, I think it's Canadian, CDN Garden Girl. So the world pointed out the first largest cricket production facility is now open in Ontario, London, Ontario. Can produce 9,000 metric tons of crickets for humans and pets. They've got orders for 2 years already. Yuck. Yeah, and I've seen that. And honestly, I'm not one of these who has anything specifically against eating any sort of animal, but it is weird to see this push to try to be like, you shouldn't eat meat, you should eat bugs instead. It's like, it's almost like some kind of humiliation ritual that they just want everyone to, like, peasants eat the bugs, eat the bugs, live in the pod. I've eaten the cricket snacks before, whatever, like the dried out cricket, and they dust them with like chili powder or something, like whatever. I don't care. If I was in the wild, I would eat Lost in the Woods. I would eat bugs.
We did that.
Lobster is basically
like this a few years ago.
Yeah, lobster's a giant sea bug.
That's right. And you know what? It's basically, you can eat people, I guess, if you had to.
Yeah, right. Go the road route. Just be like, you're looking a little meaty today, sir. You don't happen to have any of those pistols on you, do you?
It's funny, you see all these people posting cat videos and stuff, and these cats are a lot fatter than they were 5-10 years ago. And I'm thinking to myself, if the food runs out, you always have mittens. So
that's not too much of a meal, though. One
I don't know if I could pass that line. I don't know if I could eat a cat. You guys would eat a
certainly
cat?
could eat a cat. Like I don't think I would really be able to have troubles seeing it differently from eating anything else. If I was very hungry, I wouldn't want to eat like my cat if I had a pet.
Well, let me explain something. I hate cats. Cats are retarded. They rule the house. They ignore.
Yeah, they're definitely
commands and everything. But quick story. I got this one cat. It was actually on my lap like half an hour ago. I'm not joking.
Oh, nice.
At this chick's house, and this cat like loves me. It just loves me. I can ignore it. It doesn't matter. And to the point where it pisses her off. She's like jealous. The fact that
ignore them.
Yeah. Meows and jumps in my crotch and blah, blah. Okay. Long story short, I don't know if I could eat a cat now as a result of this experience. Psychologically, like it's
interesting. Yeah. I mean, I would
that hurdle now, gentlemen.
But I could see having like a pet of my own, of any animal that I wouldn't want to eat. But if it's not a pet, I don't really have like them separated in my mind,
Right. Yeah.
Especially if I'm detached from the processing of the animal. Like if someone just in an emergency handed me a plate and said, this is cat meat in this stew, I wouldn't have any trouble eating it. I wouldn't want to have to kill and butcher a cat, though. That would be weird.
Yeah. Can't cross this line. I think it was 1 second after that talked about, they exchanged pets. So if you were in the neighborhood, then you
wouldn't eat your pet. And I think they did that in one of those books, either one at the Forston one. I think it was 1 second after Lights Out. I forget which one he did. I think they had that where the family dog got injured or died, and they like traded it to somebody for some other sort of supplies because they didn't want to be the ones to eat it. I think that's what happened. Someone posted in the chat if you remember reading that.
My dark humor is kicking in, but you know what? I think I'll save it and.
Okay.
I'll save it for the viewers of here. And,
right.
Yeah. Probably wouldn't be a good idea.
Big Dan, what's your limit? Would you eat any animal? Or is there one animal you did like, okay, I can't eat, whatever, insert animal X?
Well, I don't know. Am I trying to bang in some chick from PETA? I wouldn't need any animals.
What if Coco the gorilla is sitting there sign languaging "I love you" to you, but you're starving?
Yeah.
Are you gonna eat it
as you're cooking up the bacon grease? Right?
You're like, "I love you too, buddy," warming up the cauldron.
I love you.
I love you, whatever it is.
A little bit of barbecue sauce. There would be no limit. If my family is hungry, I was hungry, I would eat pretty much anything.
Yeah, that's like that. There was this weird sci-fi novel back in the day where the aliens came down and they like translated their like manifesto, and it said like to serve man, and like, oh, they're here to help us, but it was actually like a cookbook.
Yeah, it was V.
Oh, V. That was V. Okay,
yeah.
The lizard people. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I couldn't remember what that was from.
Trying to fatten people up,
right? For the cattle.
Good news. Fuck, everybody's fat here now.
Yeah, right.
The world. So.
No kidding.
Maybe they're about to come harvest us.
That's what the corona is all about.
Yeah, right.
Virus. The V people, the lizard people, are about to reveal themselves.
Yeah. Exactly. They just like they live. We finally see them for what they are. But yeah, it's an interesting thing because we've got, even without the war and like the wheat supply and all that stuff, then you have the drought, then you have the bird flu, whatever, killing the birds, and you've got all these different things that are happening. So it's crazy it's all happening at once.
It just seems, I don't know, maybe this happens all the time, and now they're just reporting it for their, maybe in an agenda or what have you. But basically, what's the end game? What is the end game of their plan?
If it was a plan, I mean, the end, if it is like actually purposefully done, like if you're burning down the food, it would be to make people helpless and dependent on something, so you have to do what they say. So whether that's to sign up for blank to get your rations, that would be my guess, is if they were doing this on purpose, it would be either outside forces weakening the country, like Chinese people sneaking in and trying to cripple the country. If it was inside job, so to speak, and it was planned, then it would be to make people helpless so you can't exist outside the system, whatever like central bank digital currency they came up with, or whatever injections or vaccines or whatever, you would have to say yes because they that's the only way you would get the food or whatever.
Yeah,
that would be my explanation if that was planned. I'm not convinced that it is planned. It's certainly possible, but it would just it would have to be pretty extensive. But it's definitely, it does appear that there's an increase in these types of things, at least from my perspective. So that's, someone mentioned the cows earlier, and I was looking into that too. And I'd seen some people who said that it's not that unusual for cows to die from heat problems. It's unusual for it to be that many at once. There was like 10,000 or something. But they mentioned a few things like the humidity specifically, in addition to the heat, the fact that they're expanding the type of cows, the Black Angus cows, because the marketing for Black Angus beef has been particularly effective. So everyone wants that kind. So, and they don't dissipate heat as well. So they're more likely to die from heat related issues. And we are seeing higher temperatures. I mean, this year in Vegas, I think I mentioned before, we had our first 80 degree and 90 degree days of the year were back to back. So the first day that it reached 80 degrees was right before the day that it reached 90 degrees for the first time in the year. So it is warmer right now, but it does seem like really like one more thing to add into all this.
Plus the monkeypox scenario.
Yeah,
How prevalent is it down that? Is it like make nonsense?
Yeah, it's go. I thought you were seeing. I'm seeing like these CDC guidelines and stuff being put out, and I'm like, how many people have monkeypox? Like 100? Are there like dozens of people that have this, and they're acting like it's something that we should be worried about? Even though I think Chris Martinson had a decent video about it, and it's even the real monkeypox strains that are out there are so much more difficult to spread than something like a COVID or a respiratory virus, that it's really not, even if it really had the 5% death rate or whatever, which not all the strains do, it still wouldn't be a concern because you have to have like direct physical contact with someone who has it.
I think maybe the people have completely lost faith in COVID and they don't believe it anymore. So they had to come up with something. I
mean, that could be it too. Yeah. They're like, oh, well, you still need us. You still got to worry about disease. You know what I mean?
Definitely. I remember when COVID first started, it was like, oh, there's 100 people with COVID. And then, people were like, who gives a shit?
Yeah, exactly.
Then it was like, oh, now there's 10,000 people with COVID, and it's, you know, all these, fuck, we still got people out here in BC wearing masks outside.
Yeah, no, I know. You see it here too. It's bizarre. Yeah, it's really nonsensical how people get like stuck in that mindset. But yeah, I mean, like it isn't unusual for them either. I guess that when that is their job, like the CDC, that's all they know how to do. Like they did the same thing with Ebola, and we were like, psh, and said, you know, nonsense to that too. So they do it for every single one, I guess. And then we found out pretty early that COVID was at least one that was likely to be able to spread, unlike most of these other ones. And you saw them go from, you know, 500 to 1,000 to 10,000. Like, all right, this is actually spreading. Whereas like it's 500 people have it. Now it's 501. Like, I don't care. Monkeypox doesn't matter.
Yeah. What about you, Shay? What do you think?
I don't think it's anything to be too concerned about. I think people are probably a subset of people that are just rolling their eyes thinking, okay, here we go again, because it's almost like we've stepped into a new world where there was like a time pre-COVID and now we're going through this pandemic and possibly another one, unlikely in my opinion. And there's some things we're never gonna return to what we had back in, you know, a couple of years ago before all this nonsense started. So
yeah, I got to show you this stupid thing that let me see if I can share screen, where they released the CDC releases a safe sex and monkeypox directive.
Heard about that.
Can you guys see this? CDC issues safer sex and monkeypox. It says, try virtual sex, avoid kissing, wear clothes, cover your rash, wash it. And then my personal favorite, masturbate 6 feet apart.
Oh no.
And I'm like, I don't know about you guys.
No,
but I feel like if you masturbate more than 4 feet apart, you're basically single.
Yeah.
That's my max. If I'm masturbating more than 4 feet away from you, you better just go away.
I'll tell you,
I don't need you.
Virtually impossible to masturbate 6 feet away on the bus.
Yeah, the bus.
From people.
Like, what do you mean? The bus benches aren't even 6 feet apart. How am I
know, exactly. It's absolute craziness. Masturbating 6 feet away on the subway, impossible.
Impossible.
Bus, impossible. A plane,
definitely impossible.
Absolutely impossible.
Right.
I was at 3 feet, so I was in the zone.
You're in the zone, yeah. The splash zone, I guess.
Yeah.
It's like front row of the Gallagher show or something.
Yeah. Why does it always go to this? You know,
I blame you guys. I have plenty of videos of my own. I don't do this. I keep it professional.
I don't think so. Eric is the instigator here. Last time we did this, Eric was like, there's this time I committed this crime. And then Dan's like, oh, I did a crime too.
I think the statute of limitations on throwing gummy sharks at cars is passed.
There you go.
I think I'm safe.
Was that it? Yes.
Yeah.
It's like
or the burritos too.
Brutal.
Speaking of which, there was a meme. It was on maybe I can try and find it I'll get a snapshot and upload it here. But it was something. It was your feed, and it was like, guys, I think I've grown up. And it was a picture of a toilet. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh yeah, that was a real picture I took.
Yes, really.
Yeah, that was in the. So I'm at the one about the change, right?
I'm gonna read the caption. Yeah, that's
what you're talking about. So I was playing a WSOP tournament, which is the World Series of Poker. I played one of the tournaments down here, and I went into the bathroom. And it was like change, like in the toilet. Someone had like shotgun blast a handful of change. There was all over the floor, and then there was a couple in the toilet. And I was like, I've matured. I was like, I wanted everyone to know I've matured. I'm not going to reach in here and get this. And I was like, yeah, that's a quarter. There was a time in my life where maybe I would roll my sleeves up. But now you can't even get gas with 30 cents. So it's pointless.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I've got one vehicle I'm going to be converted to run on an alternative fuel. And I'm going to actually do that much sooner than later. I'm not too sure how people are coping, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like I do okay. I don't know about you guys, but
it's rough.
Like I'm all right. But I can't imagine what it is like for other people.
There's a lot of people
to check.
Right. Who are already check to check. And then gas alone has gone up, obviously a ton. Same time, rents average here have gone up by like $500 a month. So that's, and you don't have to be that, if you had an extra $500 a month 2 years ago, that's usually pretty good for a lot of families, like a discretionary $500, and that's not completely gone.
Yeah.
They're talking right now, interest rates, if you don't have a fixed rate mortgage.
Oh yeah. Any non-fixed rate debt is going to ream you.
Yeah. You're fucked.
Yeah.
It's Dan, go ahead, man.
Yeah. Sorry. So basically I was able to lock in for a fixed rate mortgage almost 2 years ago at 1.72. Now they're offering that same mortgage at 4.99.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think a lot of the rates are over 6% now for like new mortgages. It's crazy. And the prices haven't gone down yet. They're not climbing as fast, but they haven't gone down yet.
People aren't going to afford that. If interest rates go up that high, it's going to be like the early 80s when our Supreme Overlord's stepfather was in charge.
Yeah.
It is going to be crazy. People are just going to be walking away from their homes.
Yeah. The difference is, though, at least back then, like in the Volcker years when they raised the rates, like the prices were much more reasonable in relation to wages. So even though the rates were extremely high, then you could still potentially afford the payment because your total loan value is way less. Like now the prices are all-time highs and the rates are getting back up there. So it's like a double whammy. So that's why I think people who like, I wouldn't be, if you have an ability to buy a home, I was telling people to do it for the past couple of years when the rates were low, because I think the prices are going to crash soon, probably. But I don't think it's going to be any easier to buy because it's going to be much harder to get a loan. And when you do, the rates are going to be way higher. And so rents, a lot of people are going to have to rent still, and rents are going to go up or at least stay stable. So it's not necessarily anything to wait for unless you have enough money to just buy it outright, because it's going to be a lot harder to get a loan.
Yeah. No one's going to be able to have that type of money just sitting around. But hey, listen, there was something in the States where they were taking your firearms and giving you a tank of gas.
Yeah, they were doing gun buybacks with gas cards. And I was looking at those because I'm like, wow, they're $100 gas cards is what they said. And I'm like, legally speaking, a stripped lower receiver is a firearm, and you can get those in bulk for like $39 each sometimes. So like, should I just buy a bulk of stripped like lower receivers for $40 each, and then go in there with a crate of them, be like $100 each, please?
Exactly, like the dude with the
zip guns.
Yeah, the stocks.
Yeah, he made shotguns, like illegal shotguns out of it.
Yeah, and took him in for $50 a pop or whatever it was.
Yep,
right? It was just a 2x4.
He made them for like $7. Yeah, it was a 2x4 with like, he had like some U-bolts, like clamped a pipe on there and like
That's hilarious. That's the best business model I've ever heard.
I know. Imagine the look on those cops' faces. You had to be like, "Fuck you, buddy. Give me that money."
Classic.
Yeah, exactly. It's beautiful. I love that. It's an enterprising spirit. Look at some of these. Kevin Brown says, to quote George Michael, "Do you love your monkey or do you love me?" I think it was also George Michael who said, "Sex is natural, sex is fun, sex is best when it's one-on-one."
I disagree. At least 2 or 3 people into the mix.
Not when you got monkeypox to worry about.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, pre-monkeypox, at least 2, 3, 8, 9, 12 people, good to go. Monkeypox now, it's banging someone 6 feet away.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with George Michael one-on-one. I like that, if he gets, there's, those girls, got a couple of nice ladies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, strength in numbers, sure.
That's right. Yeah, that's what it's all about. It's community.
Community. We're building a community.
Yes.
We're going to be like Jared Leto on his island.
Stronger.
We're building a community.
Speaking of which, that was a random celebrity.
Good segue.
Random. Just it was like this was the celebrity of the week, or the month, I should say, for a segment that we're trying to introduce. So insert segment now. What do we call this, Eric?
Oh, do we have a name for it?
I have no idea. What
we just call it? Would they? Would they
Would they
survive?
survive?
Celebrity edition.
Yeah. Cue the music.
I don't have it.
Oh,
I'll have to
shit.
get a
All
theme
right.
song. I'll have to get a theme song.
Damn
Maybe
it,
it'll be
narrator.
George Michael.
There you go. Yeah.
You gotta have
I
faith.
want your sex by George Michael. Yeah, gotta have faith.
No. I don't know how this turned into a comedy show.
Sorry, my fault.
Trying to put asses in seats here, Shay.
Yeah.
Got to keep the levity up. Dead air out there. We're losing them. All right, so let me read. You want me to read off the one that you sent?
Oh, whatever. Sure, whatever.
Okay. Oh, you had a little
The photo's hilarious.
It says our
So,
celebrity
gotta share
survival segment. I will not give the name yet. I'll say it's a British actor.
Okay.
He rose to
Cool.
fame at age 12 when he began portraying a character in a film series, an eponymous lead role, and has held various other film and theater roles. Over his career, has received various awards and nominations. He's 32 years old. He's born in London. He's not tall, 165 centimeters or 1.65 meters. Net worth of estimated at 95 million. He has a mild form of the neurological disorder dyspraxia, which sometimes prevents him from doing simple activities such as writing or tying his shoelaces. He said, I was having a hard time at school in terms of being crap at everything with no discernible talents. The person I'm describing is none other than Harry Potter.
Sorry.
Sorry.
I was gonna see if Dan would have guessed it.
Oh,
Yeah.
All good. We
Oh,
should
right.
probably
Sorry.
jam it a bit though beforehand, and
Okay.
just like before we do the
Build it
reveal.
up,
That was
yeah.
awesome.
yeah. So it's Daniel Radcliffe, English actor who portrayed Harry Potter, among other things. So will Harry? So is this the character or is this the actor? It's the
Yeah,
actor.
whatever.
We're talking about the
guys
actor,
want. Okay,
right?
well, the character would be awesome.
Yeah, because
Doesn't
he's
he
magical,
powers
right?
and
So
fly around
why
and
wouldn't he
shit?
survive the apocalypse? So I guess we'll go with the actor. Would Daniel Radcliffe survive the apocalypse?
I guess so. Okay, yeah. Dan, what do you think?
Of course he would. He'd be my little bitch. Of course
okay.
he would. Good news, Harry Potter. It's time to.
I say no. He's got neurological disorders. He's not physically imposing. He has some money for sure, but I don't know if he's done anything useful with it in terms of surviving the apocalypse. He's in an area of the world that's densely populated, isn't very resource independent. Be a rough go of it. I say no.
That'd be kind of neat to have him on a chain as one of your gimps to walk around town in the apocalypse.
And see, and you said I'm the one who makes it weird.
And you can have him dress up like in the Harry Potter outfit, and bring that to the
He could
bartering
be
table.
Reek or whatever.
I'd be like that. I'm that the janitor guy. Let's go, Harry.
Oh, the big guy from the movie.
Yeah, not horror. That's Game of Thrones.
It's Haggard or something.
Yeah. You know what? I hate to say it. I just don't think a lot of these celebrities would.
Well, I think most people won't. So it's not that we're being mean to them per se, but
Yeah.
I don't think most people would do well. So then you add in the fact that they're probably, or at least potentially, more detached from the hardships of life in many ways.
Listen, you could have a whole theme, like a Harry Potter theme, when you go to the bartering town, thing convention. You got Harry Potter, and like, how do you trump that? It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do
And
you
you'd
got?
be
Well,
famous.
we got Harry Potter on a chain on the beach. The real Harry Potter.
Right.
Yeah, he would definitely have bartering value, I think, as a survivalist in a real life survival situation. Daniel Radcliffe, I think he's an intelligent man. I think he would do okay. I think he's witty, and I think he would be able to. He would adapt psychologically and navigate and do what he needs to do to survive. So that's
he was in a movie called
this out of 10.
Swiss
I'll
Army
give him a
Man.
7 out of 10. If you can share that image, that'd be awesome.
The Swiss Army Man. I'll try to find.
No,
it.
the one that I put on social media.
Oh, from
it was hilarious.
Oh, the one from what's the movie? I forget what movie this is.
I heard that.
It's Guns Akimbo, I think is the name of the movie.
I did hear that Survivor or
here, I'll share the picture for you.
What was it called? The Knife Man or the Swiss Army Man? Where
there he is. Yeah, he's like a dead body in Swiss Army Man that the guy uses to survive because he uses him in a bunch of different ways, like as a raft or as a shelter and all this other
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, but this, I think the one here
Okay.
that's showing is from a movie called Guns Akimbo, which I've never actually seen.
And for those that can't see it there, it says, "Call me Harry Potter one
One
more
more
time."
time. And I like that he has a giant like bear slippers on. That's pretty funny. So yeah, maybe he would do okay. I don't know, but I don't see any reason to think that he would perform above average compared to a normal
Okay,
person.
so what's the number, Eric?
I guess I'd just give him the average chance then, 5, right?
5. Okay, you know what? Maybe I got to hear Dan. Maybe I'll revisit my number here. Dan, what's your synopsis?
You know what?
on
Unfortunately, I
Harry
just
Potter?
think a lot of these celebrities are pampered and stuff like that. You know, I give them 3 weeks. So, you know,
Wow.
yeah, I hate to say it, especially if he's trapped out in the UK. They're landlocked.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, that's
That's
a rough spot if you're in London.
You know, if you're in like the States where, you know, you can run, hide, even in Canada, like
Especially in Canada, yeah.
you know what I mean? Like you're fucked.
Yeah.
Give me a number.
I'm gonna say probably 4 out of 10.
4. Okay, I'm going to retract my 7 and give him a 6.
Okay.
Okay.
According to 2 survivalists or 2 preppers, Daniel Radcliffe, you've got one says average and one says slightly above average. So you may have a chance. And one says you're going to die.
Yeah, exactly. Good times. All right, what do we got? Let's see if we have any interesting questions here. The dude from Horns. Yeah, he was in a weird movie called Horns.
Give us the next celebrity, folks, since we're chatting about
For
here.
next week, yeah.
We got a website.
You can
It's
email us.
preppertrifector.com. And sometimes there's a counter there that works, and there's a countdown to the next show. And I'd love to hear I'd love to hear the audience. Give us some celebrity names. Who do you want us to see?
Yeah, and we'll do it next
Review
week or
next
something.
week.
Yeah.
Sure.
We'll do a better intro. I won't give it away right away. I'll make one of you guys guess.
I don't know why John Bibb just said that.
I also don't. It's like, okay.
Thoughts and prayers, John.
Yeah, thoughts and prayers.
Thoughts and prayers, buddy. Hopefully
Exactly.
it was a dry one and you'll be okay.
Right.
Hopefully
I'll point out too, just while we're waiting for some comments to come in, I talked about these guys before on one of the live streams, Jace Medical, and they reached out to me, sent me one of these antibiotics packs. So I'm going to be doing a video on that soon, because I know I've talked about the importance of antibiotics before, and I've had to rely on mostly these fish antibiotics, which is a little janky, to have to buy fish antibiotics. So this is a company specifically designed to get you antibiotics, but also potentially other medicines to build up a stockpile. So it's a real actual prescription, the real antibiotics given to you by a real doctor with instructions on dosages for different disorders and stuff, which is extremely useful. So like if you have other meds too, and your doctor, you can't go to them and be like, you know what, doc, I'm worried about the apocalypse. Can you give me a little bit extra meds? They're probably going to just look at you, but that's specifically what this company's for. So get on, I'll put a link in the description, and I got a video coming on that soon on why that stuff's so important. But
well, hold on a second now. They gave your antibiotics, or they just gave you a whole bunch of samples?
They give you a prescription for various antibiotics for future use, in the event of a disaster. And they can do it with other medications as well that you actually do have current subscriptions for potentially and want to get a backup supply. Because there's a lot, if you just go into your doctor and you're on whatever med, doesn't matter what it is, and you just say, hey, I want extra because I'm worried that the world's collapsing. Most of the time they don't give a shit. They're not going to give it to you.
It's work in Canada. It sounds cool. Actually.
Yeah, Canada and the US, I think, is the only ones they can do.
Let's see that again. Can you open it up?
Yeah, make sure it doesn't have my address on here in any way, but
yeah, because you wouldn't want to get.
That's actually really, because it's funny. You pulled up the bottle of fish antibiotics, and that's the current system for peppers.
Right, that's what everyone's having to do right now. And then with this, you don't know if like the quality controls, is it bogus? For me, the big thing was the dosages. Like how much of this do I take, and for what disorder do I take? Doxycycline versus amoxicillin or whatever. So this one just has the same different types of antibiotics we got, because they have a basic pack of just antibiotics, which is what I got. So you got metronidazole, amoxicillin, ciprofloxacin, and doxycycline, and azithromycin, which was working on COVID a lot. But this is the important part of the fact. Yeah, so did I. But it's they were janky fish antibiotics. So you get the actual prescription, and you can do it up to once. You can do it up to 1 pack a year per person, is what they're allowed to give you.
That's
and then
cool.
This is the important part, is the guide. So it tells you like if you have this disorder, like if you get a urinary tract infection, take this antibiotic for this amount, this many days, that sort of thing. So that's the super important part of it.
Well, I think I want one of those things.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think I want even just the guide too.
That's what I was
you know
big on
what?
too, because I could
We
use
need to
that.
revisit.
Yeah.
Sorry, dude.
Oh, I was just gonna say that was the big part for me, because I had the antibiotics, but I didn't have any knowledge about how to use them beyond like just basic Googling.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. That's
And like I said, for other
definitely
meds, I think I'm not sure exactly what different range of meds they can do it for, but they can do it for other stuff that you're already taking. The tough ones are probably any sort of pain meds. Obviously, it's going to be really hard to get like a backup supply of if you're on opioids or something.
Right.
But that shit you can probably just get illegally anyway.
Well,
it's hard.
definitely.
It's hard to go down to your corner plug and get antibiotics. Like, hey, bro, I need some of that azithromycin.
Yeah. No.
But yeah, so I'll put a link in the description, and I'm going to do a whole video on it. So that was big for me, because like no matter how much like you prepare, and we always talk about skills being more important. Like if the system's shutting down and you get a case of some sort of infection, and you're done. There's no like alternative way to deal with that. You have to get antibiotics somehow.
Yeah, I definitely like to do that.
You got to chop off the part, or you
right.
You
I mean, but then just any minor surgery like that, like if you do have to chop off a finger, the wound that you're healing from could easily get infected. I mean,
yeah. It's a very, we live in this wonderful world right now with antibiotics, and I think people certainly don't appreciate the power that it gives us to do all these wonderful things, like have surgery.
Here, I'll post a link.
That's a really cool thing, man. We'll definitely have to follow up on that.
Yeah, as soon as I saw other channels talking about it, I was like, oh, I got to get with these guys. And I mentioned it in one of our chats before, or one of our live streams before I'd even ever talked to them, because I could tell that it was such a good idea. And I mean, the rough thing with stuff like antibiotics is like, there's no way for me to really like do a video testing these, which is why you kind of, same with the gas mask.
Maybe get a sore throat or something, right?
I mean, I'll take it and like, okay, but like, so you have to
diarrhea.
Right. You have to rely on them being good. So same with the gas mask. Like, yeah, I got my fish amoxicillin, but you know, when they're making this stuff for a fish, they're probably not doing the same quality controls that they are for.
Well, you know what you can do with that gas mask, you can get John Bibb over, and you can kind of
see if you can smell his fart.
Yeah. I think that'd be perfect. But yeah, I'd definitely like to check out that Jace Medical.
Maybe I posted the link in the chat, and I'll put it in. I'll email it to you guys too, for sure. Because cool. if you can get a pack sent to you or whatever, that's huge. I mean, that's a big deal to me. That's like the one thing that, like I said, there's no alternative. There's some folk remedies for different things, but if you get a fucking kidney infection after grid down or something, you're gonna have to get antibiotics most of the time. Or you get cholera or any of these other
it's crazy.
Crazy diseases.
I think one of my things that I'm gonna do is take my phone out and make sure that I find a place that's a good service. Take my bug out bag and pretty much just walk 30-40 feet into the woods, and then just go on a live stream and say, okay, well, here it is. It's I'm walking to my bug out location. I got to stay here for the night. I'm going to set up camp. I'm going to, set out everything that I have to do to somewhat survive, and then just, kind of see how many followers I can, get on that. But
that's cool.
Cool, man. Just to see kind of what, it's kind of like that class I taught the radio procedure with Shay out in Ontario. And then I asked that question, who has a bug out bag? And everyone put their hands up. I'm like, okay, who's gone through their bug out bag in the last 6 months? And, some other people put their hands up, and I'm like, all right, how many of you tested your bug out bag?
Yeah.
And then it's like, 3 or 4 hands went up, but it was just like, everybody has these things, but have they tried them? It's great to have them, but if you don't know what's going to work for you.
Yeah, that's why the first thing we did when we were having to do the gas mask or the tear gas, they tear gas us in the military. But what you do first is you go stand in the room with your mask on, because part of the exercise, beyond just making you suffer for no reason, like the Army likes to do, is to make you trust your gas mask and to see that it works. So you're standing in that room, just like breathing and being like, okay, I know how I put this thing on, I know how it works. And then you take it off.
I never blew so much snot out of my nose.
Oh, dude, they're like, let me see your war face, and you're like,
good times.
Yeah, great times. I remember it was funny because when I came out of there, because they had us go in order. Like we were all standing against a wall, like it was a prison camp, and then one by one we'd have to go up there and take the mask off, and like the guy would ask you questions, well, and you try to try to answer them until they set you out. And I thought I was like succumbed instantly. But the one thing I said, because some people like panic and try to run out of the room, I was like, I will fucking die before I embarrass myself. Like, I'm okay dying in this room. I'm not going to be like, oh, run out. So I like literally, I was like trying to talk, and I was like, and I couldn't get air in. And I was like, I'm about to pass out. And right when I was about to, like, felt like I was going to pass out, they were like, all right, get out of here. And they let me run out the door. But afterwards, someone was like, man, you did really good. And I was like, what? I felt like I like couldn't talk instantly. Like I immediately succumbed to it is what it felt like. But I guess it didn't do too bad. There was one dude that we had that was barely affected by it. Apparently there's a really small percentage of the population that it just gives him a little bit of a sniffles, like smoke in your eye kind of thing. But that was it. He barely affected him. And I was like, you bastard.
No kidding.
Yeah.
We had to do that every single year, the gas hut. It was just, it's like, come on, we know they work. Like, what are you doing? But yeah, what a time. What a time to be alive in that gas hut.
Yeah. Yeah, that was some fun.
Destiny says place in Utah does the same marked antibiotics for human. I think it was Mark Olson suggesting, yes, exactly the same. There's multiple companies that offer fish antibiotics. The company that's coming to mind right now is called Thomas. It seems to be the most credible.
That's the one I have, yeah. And apparently, like we're saying, that like these allegedly do come from the same labs and everything. So
yeah, and apparently like they're literally identical. If you look, if you compare the pills directly,
you don't get the guide that tells you how to use it for humans because they're selling it not for humans. Yes, and also it's not really that much more, if any, more expensive. Like I paid a lot for those fish antibiotics. This pack I think is like $260 or something if you get it through them with the actual prescription and everything. So it'd make it easier to travel with if you need to. You have an official prescription for this stuff. So if you had to give it to someone, even just like you wanted to before shit hit the fan, it wouldn't be illegal, that sort of thing. So there's advantages to getting real ones.
Absolutely there is. And I mean, if you can get the original high quality version, that's obviously the route to go. Right. The other factor that makes it great for me is some of the sources where the pills are manufactured. If it's overseas, if it's in North America, you're probably getting a decent product. But I think people are kind of catching on that it's to this idea of getting antibiotics, especially in places like Mexico.
Yeah. Now, a lot of go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's all good. I was gonna segue over to something that Kaylin said about AOC.
Okay, really quick. I was just gonna say a lot of these are made in China. Antibiotics. In fact, something like 90% of non brand names, generic antibiotics are made in China. Which I mean, I'm sure they're fine. Whatever. The issue being, we could very easily see more potential issues with China happening over the next few years, especially with what's going on with Russia. And if they decide to disrupt that flow, that's 90% of the entire generic antibiotic supply that could be shut off almost instantly. So that's another good reason to have it. And like you're saying, like the fish antibiotics, probably fine, maybe a little cheaper. But like I said, they don't just do antibiotics as far as I know. They can do other meds too, or there's no other way to do that as far as I know, to just get back up.
No, it's a genius system because you're getting a quality antibiotic that it's been prescribed by a medical professional, and you're getting exactly what you want, all these different varieties. So, and there's a demand for it because eventually when you go on this rabbit hole called preparedness, you will reach a stage or a gate or a door that says, okay, I need to think about medications now. Oh, antibiotics. Right. So something like this, if you got to pay whatever it is to get it all done, and not think about these third world countries saying, oh yeah, here, 50 cents, for 500 pills.
Yeah.
There are some cheap crap, questionable quality sources out there.
Right. Could be doing anything, packaging anything up, or maybe even selling you really old stuff. And I remember reading, I remember reading I think it was the Killing Field or Surviving the Killing Fields books, where after the Cambodian genocide, and they wrecked basically the entire modern civilization. Like the antibiotics were worth more than gold. Like people were literally trading gold to get antibiotics because there was no other, there's no alternative. Like I said, there's no, if you need
Can't
it,
stress it
that's
enough.
Yeah.
Dude, you mentioned it earlier, and that's the first thing that comes to mind is without antibiotics, inflamed kidney, like surgeries, like all this stuff is not.
Even just a cut on your hand, a staph infection, whatever, anything can happen.
It could kill you.
Yeah.
So-
It's as simple as that.
I know you're going to segue into something, but I got a funny story. Remember when we talked about I was going to start building bug out bags and kind of selling them online and stuff?
Right.
Anyway, I bought a bunch of items for, to test out some of these bags. But one of the things that I did buy was, I bought a big box of Magnum condoms. And we all know that you can use. I know you're laughing. Hold, just bear with me. Anyway, so I got all my stuff.
We know what you're not using them for. Let's just put it that way.
Anyway, long story short, my wife sends me a picture. She was going through all my shit.
That was the joke. That was
this,
the joke right there. Sorry,
Yeah.
Dan, that was too good, buddy.
she finds the condoms and she's like, am I like, are these yours? Like, what the fuck do you got these for? Like, why do you have them? And then I'm like, oh fuck. So I had to send her the link to, what a condom and a bug out bag's for. And it was just like, it was like, finally fucking, I wasn't buying them to, bang chicks or anything. I was going to throw them in.
Right.
Like, maybe,
the monkeypox thing going around.
Yeah, right.
Be careful.
yeah.
Put it over your head and hands.
So anyway, the prepping website saved me. I bought them to throw in bug out bags, but it was kind of funny that she was like, "What the fuck is this?" And,
That's to bring up a real point though. If you are going to get, there are a lot of uses for them. Get the non-lubricated ones because you don't want any chemicals or anything on them.
Definitely.
Just the latex / rubber, whatever they're made out of these days. So. Yeah, because I mean, you can hold water in them. You can use them to waterproof items. You can cover finger wound with it, whatever. If you have a giant finger, I guess.
A big toe.
Yeah, or big toe even. But I mean, seriously, they can stretch to cover your whole leg basically.
Oh yeah, if you get a foot injury, one of those bad boys on you, and you should be good to go. Yeah, I just found it funny that she immediately found those and went to. You cheating piece of shit.
Yeah, right.
No, that's not why, sweetheart. I'm like, who the fuck would bang me, for God's sakes? Probably not even during an apocalypse. If I was the last dude on Earth, it's just like.
Especially not if you've got a Daniel Radcliffe sex slave.
Yeah, that's right.
There you go. Maybe that's your ticket in with the girls. Hey, I got Daniel Radcliffe. You got to get to
got Harry Potter.
Right.
Do something there, fucking Harry. Let's go.
Ryan says, what will happen if gas goes to $10 a gallon? I mean, I think it will. I honestly think it will. I think we'll see $10 a gallon at some point, at least for a spike within the next year or year and a half. And some of that could be related to all these issues that are happening, Iran, whatever. And if not, then just the continued decline of the dollar, everything is going to get more expensive. But at $10 specifically, I mean, everything is transported by truck. That's going to get more expensive. It's going to cause everything to become more expensive, and it's going to crush a lot of people.
It's $10 a gallon in BC right now.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So it's already there in a lot of places in the world. So
it's probably $9.40 a gallon in BC.
Right. So it's not the end of the world, obviously, but it's brutal. It's crippling.
It's very weird that it's becoming a reality, right. And even with this monkeypox thing and people throwing that, and there's a hysteria out there, and gas prices and food prices. I don't think it's so much that we're going to run out of gas, run out of, steak.
Right.
Sirloin. It's going to be more about it just won't become attainable.
I mean, nothing runs out just like that. I mean, as it becomes,
it'll just become expensive. It'll
smaller
become too expensive.
Yeah, exactly. The price goes up, and then it's harder and harder to get, but then it slows down the rate of consumption. So it's just
there's going to be a day. Eric, sorry.
That's it. I was done. Yeah.
I was just going to say, to compliment what you were saying, there will be a day where even with your vehicle, if you don't mind me mentioning, the Bronco.
Yeah.
if gas got that expensive, maybe not for your particular situation, but for some
Right.
people driving a vehicle like that, it'd be like, okay, you know what? I can't drive an hour to work every day anymore, and I'm done.
Right. They'd have to
Entertain
either
with something
get a new
and change
job
jobs.
or it'll jack up the price for used vehicles that get good gas mileage, motorcycles, bicycles, electric bikes, things like that. Which right now, honestly, if you have any sort of commuting that, like if you're in a city or suburban type area and most of the things that you do are within 20 miles of you, an electric rechargeable electric bike is a fantastic idea to get. I think Prepper Princess has made some videos about the one she uses, and you could recharge those with a solar panel and battery or one of those little like Jackery style packs, and you could theoretically be able to do all the stuff you need to do. Obviously it's not as good. You'd be out in the weather in a bicycle basically, but they have like a 30-40 mile range. They can go 20 to 30 miles an hour. Like it'll keep you in the game.
Yep,
Plus your
I know how to
wife
hotwire
size.
them too.
Yeah. It'll keep you single too, probably, but but yeah, motorcycles are, I mean, you have to get the right kind because just a normal, like, obviously they get better than cars, but they're not insanely good. Like if you get a lot of Harleys getting like the 40-ish miles to the gallon, something like that. So it's significantly better than the Bronco. But, you know, if you want to get like a little moped or something, you could get 60 to 80 miles to the gallon, maybe even more. But,
Be like Dumb and Dumber.
right. Get 80 miles to the gallon on this hog. It's like a
I
little
gotta
like
go to the
two-stroke.
washroom.
Yeah.
All right,
Jesus.
Yeah.
gentlemen, we've got a few minutes left. I got a quote, something from Kaylin earlier,
Yeah.
and we're talking about the celebrities that we potentially for the next segment. So I think we already talked about AOC, but she says AOC, or he, I'm not too sure of the gender, AOC would survive since all of us men, let's be a woman, excuse me, men, all of us men want to sleep with her, we'd protect her. Like, what kind of nonsense is that?
Yeah. I mean, she'd probably get snatched up by somebody, I guess, but I don't know if the protecting would be what was happening.
I could never sleep with her.
Yeah, she'd be too annoying. Someone said, anyone watching Canadian prepper videos lately? We've started calling him Chicken Little. I mean, all the stuff is bad news, but I mean, like if you look at like Southern Prepper 1 or whatever, even the videos I'm making, if you just go on the internet and read what's happening in a day, that's what you'll sound like. It's rough out there. I don't think that he's any worse than any of the other ones. Like I said, all the videos of me being like, if you just get online and say, what's happening today? Oh, World War III, gas shortages, 15 food plants burnt down, you know? So it's wild times.
That's the thing, you know. I even talk about it on my TikTok there, and people are like, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Everything's fine." You know, I'm like, it's not really.
Yeah,
that
everything
fine.
is not fine. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, like obviously you live your life goes on, that sort of thing. But to just act like everything's the same as it's always been and things couldn't imminently get potentially worse, I think is pretty foolish. I mean, these are prepping channels. Like, what the fuck are you supposed to talk about?
Yeah, well, exactly. It's like it's got to the point where it's like, fuck it, I'm not even gonna say shit.
Yeah,
but then you got the people that follow you who
Right.
want to kind of know what's going on. So you know, if one or two people are totally denying it, that's fine. You'll be fucking either, you know, fish bait or fuck food or whatever. And then the other people that actually listen to you, you know, they'll actually hopefully survive a few months or weeks or years because they've listened to, you know, other people.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just my 2 cents.
What did you say? Fuck food? What is fuck food?
Oh, buddy. We'll go offline to talk about that.
Alberta term there for all you northern, you know?
Yeah. Don't knock it till you eat it.
No, I got to segregate myself from the other parts of the country here, Eric. I don't know what they're doing in Alberta, what fuck food is.
Yeah, I don't know about that either. It must be a Canadian thing.
No. Alberta thing.
My mistake.
Right. It's a difference.
I don't know. What does Destiny mean when she say some guys like little ponies? I thought she said I like Southern Preppers boots on the ground videos, which I've been enjoying those. But I don't know what you mean by some guys like little ponies. I'm not sure what that means. Unless you're talking about My Little Ponies, which is weird as fuck.
Oh no, I'm gonna send you a link right now. Hopefully we've got a couple minutes for this.
Yeah.
I think it's quite interesting that we brought up
email
Canadian prepper.
Mm-hmm.
Because a buddy of mine Kevin, who runs a survival group here in Northwest Ontario, posted something about him specifically. I'm just going to send you a
I just sent him an email actually to see if he wanted to put my fishing kit in his store. Haven't heard anything back. Maybe he doesn't like me. But maybe he's just what are you sending it now?
I have to be careful with my words. But I didn't post this.
Oh, okay.
I didn't post this. I'm going to send it to. We'll just, geez. Wrong folder. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
3, 2, 1 action.
I'm here. What's up?
While I'm uploading this, what did you do in the last few weeks to change or modify your preps? What's new in that respect?
Well, I'm landlocked here in BC, so I've been buying some more freeze-dried food. Bought a lot of ammo actually, because that's kind of going through the wayside. And I picked up this little jobby. 1 second.
I love the flag in the background he's got there.
Yeah. It's a fucking leaf. All right, let's see it.
I'm wearing pants. I don't know what you guys were saying there, but
yeah.
So this is a fully automatic BB gun.
Nice.
Cool.
And so it shoots BBs at like 400 feet per second.
Damn,
these little things right here. So it's something I'm going to take out and try. Not in my hotel room here, because I imagine things will start going through the walls and such. But yeah, I don't know. Just buy new things to keep things kind of going.
Yeah,
dude, that's super cool. We're certainly going to need a follow up on that. Gentlemen, I see a link in Facebook, and this is not an attack. I've spoken to Nate. I'll put it this way. I spoke to Nate on the phone, and he told me, he says, you know what? You're the real Canadian prepper. And that's all I needed to hear. That was my mic drop moment. Okay, cool. Dude, do it. Sell your products. I don't care, whatever. And to be honest, I've only watched maybe 5 or 6 of his videos in total.
Yeah,
like, that's
honestly, I feel I can't say that I do anything differently, because like when I watch his videos, I'm subscribed to him, and I always thought he comes across as being authentic in the sense that like he does believe the things that he says and doesn't say things that he doesn't believe.
Sure. Okay.
And I think he titles his videos in the ways that is going to try and get the most views, just like I do. But in the videos, then he's just like I said, with Southern Prepper 1 and others, just reading off stuff that's actually happened. I don't think he's in the video is particularly doing any effort to sensationalize or do anything that he doesn't actually believe. Same with me. I'll make a video about what I think, and then I'll title it in a way that'll get people to go, what?
Right.
Yeah, I certainly appreciate the fact that there's a fine line between what I would call fear mongering and actually describing what's going on. And you guys tell me. So you've got the email there or the screenshot. Now I'll read off my buddy wrote this.
Yeah.
Do you want me to read the whole thing or just the title?
Yeah, whatever you want. You can read it for it. I don't care.
Just read the whole thing. It's my buddy Kevin. He runs the Simcoe Preparedness and Resiliency community here in Ontario. And he says, sometimes you have to be careful with the media and the content you take in. As an example, I just read all the titles for the YouTube videos posted by Canadian Prepper, not to be confused with Canadian Prepper podcast. If you look at them take them one at a time, it could lead to a great deal of anxiety. When you read them one after another over the last month or even a couple months, you begin to realize this is his shtick. As an example, here are the titles of his YouTube videos over the last 2 weeks. And Nate, dude, you're a cool dude, and I'm neutral, but this is what my buddy says, and you tell me. I don't know. Is this gone too far? So I'll go through. I'll do 5 or 10. I'll just read a couple titles here. Major warning: this is very bad. This is getting scary. They're really going to do it. It's bad, really bad. Here they come. Holy shit, just got worse. World War III, everything changes. This pisses me off. Okay, cool. Then like Eric was saying too, you certainly need some sort of grab. But if I were subscribed to your channel, what am I feeding into daily? Is there some preparedness knowledge, or is it more like a ramble about your thoughts about what's happening with the planet? Which is, either way, it's cool. I don't care. But if I'm going to invest my time learning about preparedness, do I want to feed into fear and anxiety and disarray of the bullshit that's going on with the planet, or do I want to focus on making a solar panel system?
I get that distinction, and I try to do like videos both. I don't think that there's any particular content creator has a duty to produce any particular type of content. Like if one of these guys wants to shift to doing all news videos, whatever, I don't care. You know what I mean? And I've noticed it is, especially if you are trying to make a business out of it, it sucks, but like those videos do so much, regardless of if you think it's fear mongering or if he's purposely doing, not naming it, even doing it as clickbait or whatever, but just doing the videos about what's going on versus like, it's actually kind of disheartening to have, like, because personally, I'll have a video that's like just a news video and with a mildly clickbaity title, and it'll get X number of views, whereas something that actually is about a specific element of prepping and how to do whatever will get like just tanked. It like doesn't get spread at all by the algorithm. Gets like a quarter of the views. It's like it's almost pointless. And that's like, it's like, well, that's what people want to see, you know. So I get the reasoning why you would just stick to mostly news.
Yeah, well, listen, we're all.
What's that noise? Are you taking a leak or something?
That's not me.
Playing with some marbles
Dan
or
or
something.
me?
That was you, Shay. What the fuck are you doing there?
Yeah. It sounded like you were
My
slurping.
apologies, gentlemen.
Yeah, what is that?
Nothing. Neutral.
Yeah.
No comments.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not going to say anything.
So like I said, I'm sympathetic to the issue. Like I said, and also there's topics to these things. Like if you get a channel about a chiropractic channel, yeah, it's going to be popping people's backs every video. You know what I mean? What do you want? It's a chiropractor channel. If you go to a psychologist channel, it's going to be talking about mental health issues every time. That doesn't mean that that's all there is to the world. That's the only thing that's happening. The only thing you should be focusing on. But when it's a prepping channel, a huge portion of it is going to be the things that are going on that should cause you to potentially take note and be prepared for.
Sure.
So I don't see
look,
that. I understand the concerns.
Certainly not slamming down on CP. Seems like a decent guy, and I'm sure he makes some valid points, and people obviously like him for a reason.
Yeah.
And it's just not my stick, as well as my buddy Kevin pointed out. And there's certainly a balance there, and that's part of the reason why I'm deterring from YouTube in some respects, is because I feel like there's not a lot of what we're doing here is unique. This is special. And some of the products you have, I mean, even what you have with the antibiotics, that's super cool. And that needs to be introduced and fucking hyped up and put a little bit of clickbaity title into it for sure.
Right.
But if you're trying to gain people's attention through monetizing off of their fear and anxiety, I think that's kind of where I'm drawing the line. Nothing to do with, I'm talking about you specifically, in any way, shape, or form. You're cool with everything that you do. But you read these titles, what am I?
Yeah, I mean, there's two ways you could look at it. Like if someone, like you could have someone who didn't even believe any of this stuff was an issue, who thought nothing's going on, and went and made these videos just to try to get monetized views. That that would be a problem.
A lot of them are like that,
and they are. But
but
I think at the same time, and you wouldn't be able to necessarily tell this from the outside, if someone sees all this stuff, is actually interested in it, is going to talk about it anyway, really thinks these are problems,
yes,
and then just also does the things to try and make these videos do as well as they can monetarily. Obviously, like ethically speaking, that's the better bet. And from the outside, though, you're not necessarily going to be able to tell the difference. So I think it's obviously on us to be able to evaluate, like, are we putting ourselves where we're just absorbing negative news constantly?
Exactly.
And, but because there's some that never point out when like something didn't pan out the way they say, or if it gets better and they're not like, "Ooh, looks like we dodged a bullet there." It's just constant hammering of negative. So you only will find that out over time, though.
That's my point. And if we jump ahead 5 years from now,
right,
and let's just say I've got 5% of my life dedicated to learning and educating myself about preparedness, why would I want to invest that real estate of education in my mind listening, and we'll just put those Canadian prepper off to the side for a second. Talk about this idiot in California, Paranoid Mind. I think is his nickname. I think you know who I'm talking about. It's just it is his whole thing is just get your shit together and smoking a cigar and drinking rye or whatever he's doing. Like, if I reflect back 5 years, look at the past, how did you spend your preparedness educational time through the plethora of educational material on YouTube? Well, I spent it looking at this dude just saying, just get your shit together. Get your shit. It's all gonna go down.
And like a lawn chair or whatever.
Okay, thank you. I had to get that piece off my chest.
No, like I said, I agree. I agree with you. I
titles.
Just, yeah, and like I said, I think there's obviously an element of monetization there, but and if that's the only reason, then yes, that would be bad. But no one really knows that except for people doing it. So,
I guess yes, yeah. Look, we all want to make money. I just don't believe in making money off of the backs of people's fear and anxiety. That's all.
Yeah.
Something unethical about that, I suppose, for me. And I'm indifferent when it comes to CP.
I know when it comes to me, and I talk about prepping stuff on my videos, like I'm not trying to make money. I'm not like any of you two guys where, you know, your knowledge is more than mine. I'm just talking my experiences from the military, stuff that I've experienced before with, you know, camping and kind of how things are going and such. But really, it's you're kind of giving your opinion, and if people want to follow it, they're more likely to follow it. But I do find on TikTok a lot of people are like, "Oh fuck, everything's fine." You know, I'm living here with my mom in her basement, and you know, everything's great. You know, it reminds me of, you know, Mom, where's the lasagna? You know what I mean? It's just, if people don't want to listen, they don't have to listen. But you know, for the people that actually do, and they follow you or Shay or myself, and you know, it's beneficial for them. And if people don't like it, well, fuck, they can die a horrible death when the apocalypse finally hits.
The title of this video is a great example. It says it's going by the book War, Extreme Drought, Food Facilities, Fires. And you know, we rambled back and forth, but I think for the audience, sure, we joke around, but we certainly give you our logical, rational, intellectual perspectives on what's really happening. Guess what? War, drought, food facilities.
That's what we're talking about. Yeah, and that's kind of my point.
The difference is the title's not, you know, we're all gonna die.
Although actually, I think I did name one that as a joke. Remember, I said we're all gonna die. It was like literally
the fact that it's a joke makes a difference.
Right.
Yes.
Let me see.
It's doom.
I kind of picked up on that. Then I'm like, man, I'm making topics about what we're talking about every time, and they kind of sound like that. So I was just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna name it.
I'll tell you what. Why don't we fuck with the algorithm and do that moving forward? We'll just do something extreme in the title. We might as well play the game, right?
Right. Well, where was it? I gotta find it now. I said World War II gets close.
The next title should be "Listen to what we talk about, or you're gonna be."
Oh yeah, here it is.
Sexy.
I wrote. Yeah. This was back in. It says Prepper Trifecta, Omicron, we're all gonna die.
Perfect. That should just be the title for every video moving forward.
Yeah, it should be like sail at Harbor Freight, we're all gonna die. No matter what it is, we're all gonna die at the end.
Whatever product we're pushing that week. Yeah,
Dan bought extra large condoms, we're all gonna die.
Extra large, you mean extra small?
The snugger fits.
I like ice cream and big red fire trucks. We're all gonna die.
We're all gonna die. Well, I think we got about an hour and 15 minutes now. I had a fun one.
Yeah, we're good. And I'll leave on a positive note. This whole thing with that product. I mean, me and Dan, I had no idea that you were going to bring up that antibiotic.
I just got that product. Yeah,
I legitimately thought that was super cool. So I'm certainly going to be interested in following up with that.
I was stoked about it because as soon as I heard about them, I was like, this is definitely something that I want because, like I said, there's no alternatives to antibiotics.
I'm going to send them an email as soon as this podcast is over.
Sounds good. Yeah, tell them about your TikTok and everything. You get a lot of views on there. So
yeah, definitely.
So it was fun, guys. Had a blast. Fun as usual.
Take care, folks. Thanks for joining.
Have a good night.